Hey friends, Miss McHenry here, coming at you with another lesson from Letterland. Today, we're going to talk about Annie Apple. She lives in an apple orchard in Letterland. Annie Apple says her sound 2 times in her own name, so we can use her name to remember her sound. Here's how. First, we say her name, Annie Apple. You say it, Annie Apple. Then we start to say her name again, but we stop almost as soon as we start, like this. Ah. That very first sound in her name is the sound that she makes. Let's do it together. Say her name, then start to say her name again, but stop at the first sound. Annie Apple. Ah. We can remember her sound by pretending to eat an apple like this. Ah, ah, ah. Now, let me tell you a secret. People don't know about Letterland, and the people that don't know about Letterland only see this shape in words. But we know that Annie Apple is hiding behind her letter. Can you imagine Annie Apple in this shape? What color is she? Red. Is she smiling? Is she frowning? I think she's smiling. She's a pretty happy apple. When we see her plain letter like this, we only say her sound so that we don't give up her hiding place. Ah, ah, ah. I have some things in my house that start with the same letter and sound as Annie Apple. I have a album full of pictures. I have an apple. I might eat that later. I also have some alcohol wipes. We all need these right now, don't we? What do you have in your house that maybe starts with a ah, ah, ah? In addition to Annie Apple, we are also going to look at another letter. This is Clever Cat. She loves to sit by the Letterland Castle. If anyone in Letterland asks, who can help us with this problem? The answer is usually, Clever Cat can. First, we say her name, Clever Cat. Now you say it. Clever Cat. Then we start to say her name again and stop almost as soon as we start, like this. Can you say it? Let's do it together. We are going to say her name, then we're going to say it again, but we're just going to make the first sound. Clever Cat. We can remember her sound by pretending to have whiskers. Now, remember our secret. People that don't know about Letterland only see this shape in words. But we know that Clever Cat is hiding behind her letter. Can you imagine Clever Cat in this shape? What color is she? Yellow. Is she smiling? Is she angry? No. Clever Cat is happy because she likes to help everyone. When we see her plain letter like this, we only say her sound so we don't give away her hiding place. Now, I have some things in my house that start with the same letter and sound as clever cat. One thing that I have is a candle. You have to be careful with candles. Another thing that I have is a cup. I also have a picture of me sleeping with my cat. She doesn't like to be very far away from me. All right, so now we know Annie apple, ah, and we know clever cat, k. Let's take a look at some pictures and see if we can figure out the first sound. The first one that I have is alligator, alligator. Do you think that that starts with a ah or k? You're right. It starts with a ah sound. So I'm going to put that underneath the A. Now, what about this? This is a clock. Clock. Does that sound like ah or k? I knew that you would know it. This one will go under the C. Clever cat clock. They all start with the same sound. What about this one? Cup. That's right, C. We're gonna put this one over here under the C because it starts with that k, k. I have more. Look at this guy. He's an astronaut. Does that sound like Annie apple or does it sound like clever cat? Astronaut. I think so, yeah. It's gonna go under our A, astronaut. What's that? Calendar, calendar. Does that sound like Annie apple or clever cat? I think maybe Annie apple. What? Silly Miss McHenry, you're right. Calendar sounds like clever cat. You're right, that goes over there. Apple. That one's pretty easy, right? Apple sounds like Annie apple. Ta-da! This is a ant. Does that sound like Annie apple or clever cat? I think it sounds like Annie apple. Last one. Moo. No, that's a cow. Does that sound like Annie apple or clever cat? Cow. Cow. That's definitely a C, like clever cat. So there we go. Annie apple, ah, clever cat,